Welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to have an all-women forum today, and I'm sure that we have a lovely participation with a lovely host of speakers. I request and welcome all of you all to this forum today. I request all the speakers to please introduce yourselves in an informal manner. We'll follow that by a formal introduction. Meenal ji, let's start with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Manpreet, for inviting me today. And I'll just introduce myself that I was the president of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture in the year of 2008-2009. Then now I'm the vice president of MEDC, that is Maharashtra Economic Development Council. And I'm the founder president of Ammi Udyogini Pratishthan, which is we are working for women entrepreneurs for last 24 years, and we don't charge anything to anybody. It's a free of cost. We give the information about government schemes, finance, marketing, networking. We have started from Mumbai, but now we are there all over Maharashtra, plus Goa, plus Dubai, and now in London also. So thank you so much for calling me here and giving me the opportunity to meet everybody. I think everybody should pass on their email ID and mobile number, because we are going to organize one international trade fair. For that, I would love that you should be there with us. Even Manpreet is with me for that function. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenal ji. I'll definitely share everybody's contact numbers to each other. It will be our pleasure. Shilpi ji, can we have a few words about yourself, please?
Well, I'm Shilpi Mehra. I am a business entrepreneur, and I have my own business which I'm running along with my husband. And on the other front, I'm a very, very passionate Rotarian, and me and my husband like to give back to society. And I find that a very fulfilling experience. And I think more of that is in my speech as well. So I'll leave it as a very short and sweet introduction for the time being.
Thank you, Shilpi ji. Thank you so much. Yukti ji, welcome to today's forum. A few lines from you about yourself.
Thank you, Manpreet. Thank you for this invitation. It's just so amazing to meet powerful women. I think powerful and women go together. You can't have these words separately put. So thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be a part of this forum. I just want to introduce myself as a living evidence of the fact that transformation is possible in one lifetime. From somebody that I was to somebody that I am has been a very exciting journey, and I'm hoping there is a little bit of inspiration and learning from there that I want to share today. So let's wait for that to unfold in the session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yukti. Thank you so much. Dr. Sukanya, your turn, please.
Hello everyone, good afternoon, namaskar. This is Dr. Sukanya here. Thank you, Manpreet. Thank you, Tinku ji. And I feel elated myself sharing my thought process amongst you. Keeping in brief, I mentor a lot of MSME entrepreneurs, especially women, for last 18 plus years. And I'm an academician, a blogger, and a political analyst, and have a small stint in social media also. The rest, I think we will be in touch when we speak and exchange our inputs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sukanya ji. Tinku ji, our very own Vice President for ICIB.
So you have given half of my introduction already. Anyway, I'll take it forward from the leader. I'm Tinku Rajiv Gupta. I'm based in Calcutta, and I've been heading the East Zone and the SAR countries for ICIB. Recently, we actually went out on a global outreach program for women empowerment, but it doesn't only limit us only to empowering in the parameters that we have been knowing so far. So it's a very different format altogether. A lot of my other friends are also there on this forum. I can see they have just joined. So as we progress through the program, we will definitely talk about this. So welcome once again, and we are looking forward to hearing from each one of you very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tinku ji. Bhavna ji.
Thank you, Manpreet ji. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here today. And I had to make up. I had promised you after denying all those events. I'm really sorry about it. I apologize. But then it couldn't be a better platform than this. Something which is very close to my heart, I'm very passionate about. And I was pretty charged up after talking to Tinku ji yesterday. So definitely, you're going to introduce me later in the course of the event. But I'm Bhavna Shah, heading Malaysian Palm Oil Council for India and Sri Lanka. I'm also a president of India-Malaysia Business Council for Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I do what I do because that makes me do what I do, because that helps the world with what I do. So I'm here to share my thoughts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavna ji. I now call upon Tinku ji to officially begin the forum, have an introduction of the guests. The floor is yours, Tinku.
Yeah, thank you. Manpreet ji, would you be kind enough to give a little introduction about ICIB?
Yes, definitely. Indian Chamber of International Business is a forum that has been formed a few decades ago, I would say. Not many, maybe about around 2. And in this short span of time, we have reached a network of about 38 countries. We have a membership base of about 2,800 and odd members spread across the length and breadth of the country. We are having North, South, East, West, and Central zones. And we are having the members who are having, I would say, I'm proud to say, Sui se leke rocket tak. We've got defense and aerospace companies, and we've got Kirana Walas also, to be very honest. So having such a diverse background and being present in 38 countries is definitely a challenge in its own. And you will be surprised that I would say that around 30% of our membership base must be around women. And we thought that, this is an opportunity that is dormant, and we should give them more opportunity and help them to come out more in the open. We find that although they are much more capable and more meticulous and more advanced in their day-to-day beginnings, and I'm sure in the lockdown, all of us men have realized that being a homemaker is not an easy job. And trust me, been there, done that, it's definitely not an easy job. So that being said, this forum has been formed today, and we require more such forums to ensure that there is a more focused highlight on the achievements of women in our society. I would not call it gender parity or emphasis on gender equality, because that negates the entire effect of showing their capabilities. We are not asking anybody to become equal to men or men equal to women. We just want to ensure that the capabilities of the women around us are highlighted. What they have done in spite of all these odds in their lives that they face, in spite of handling their day-to-day activities as a mother, as a daughter, as a spouse, and it is definitely an achievement in itself to be a woman today. I welcome you all to this forum today and hope that we will be able to listen to such innovative and detailed outlooks from your life and learn from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Manpreet ji. It's you have actually covered quite a lot of the details that I had to also share. But having said that, 2nd October being the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, our late Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, both of them had a different vision about women. Looking at the grassroots level, and acknowledging their presence in the society. So this today's program will be based on that. And I would request Ms. Yukti Kapoor to share her thoughts, a little introduction about her. She is the founder and CEO of SBY. It's a certified leadership and etiquette coach, a mentor and advisor, and an acknowledged speaker on various corporate, social, and entrepreneurial platforms, including Unplugged by TEDx Gateway. She is a former Gladrax Mrs. India runner-up and an ex-banker with Citi and Barclays. With this short introduction, she's having been working across various verticals, been acknowledged for her work. I would greatly be happy to call her and take the discussion forward. Madam Yukti, if you can kindly take the lead.
Thank you so much, Tinku ji. And thank you to this platform for bringing women together from different spheres of life. What I want to share with you in this talk is stuff that is not mentioned in the bio you just read for me, or anywhere else for that matter, but it being a forum where we really want to lead the change that we want to see in this world, it's only fair that we bring out our story with complete authenticity. So here is an authentic confession to the life that has been so far for me. I'm sure you've heard of this quote that says, "We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make a difference." Nelson Mandela said this. And there's another quote that's very popular which says, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." This was said by Steve Jobs. But it being Gandhi Jayanti, I thought I should also bring out a quote very close to my heart that Gandhiji said, and he said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And if I were to subscribe to one of these quotes, because I believe they're quite different from each other, I would sincerely and gladly subscribe to the last one, with Gandhiji said, not because I'm an Indian, but because I do believe that when you have the intent to change the world, it starts with changing your own self. So let us not carry the burden of changing the world without knowing what we can change about our own selves and in our own life. My story has been a story of self-acceptance, but it started with a lot of self-denial. And that's where an honest confession is about to spill out. So I belong to a middle-class refugee family with very limited means, and my parents did all they could to ensure some comfort, though we weren't exposed to too much class or luxury. Right? My dad has served Standard Chartered Bank as a clerk for most of his life, and my mother was an officer with NCC. I am the eldest of the three daughters they're blessed with, but it wasn't much of a blessing that they counted. You know, in a middle-class family, when you have three daughters, you know what the parents were waiting for. Having said that, my parents have gone beyond their means to provide us with best of education. So a lot of my schooling days have been with the Army Public School in Delhi, which was one of the top schools then. But it had its own side effects. So even though there were certain, fee waivers which were granted because of financial position, and my dad humbly requested me to take that opportunity, I couldn't even accept that we would need such a waiver, leave alone reaching out to school authorities to ask for it. There wasn't much acceptance to the fact that my mother wasn't so elated about having three daughters because she had to face a lot of music from the close family members and extended family members for not having a son. So some part of her almost felt hollow in our childhood, not because of anything that she deprived us of, but because of how I saw that unfulfilled wish that was sown into her, through our extended family members. And there was an absolute denial that anything was missing in this complete equation. Well, there was a lot of self-denial, which then seeped into various other parts of life, starting with the color of my skin, to the fact that I had very little knowledge about all that my peers used to talk about, whether it was English music or traveling the world. I wasn't exposed to any of that, but I never stopped pretending that I knew some bit about it. And of course, falling straight on my face each time I was confronted with a little more detail that I didn't have to share. English language in itself was also a challenge that I can't call it as even our second language. It was probably the third language for me then, because we weren't, speaking in that language in the family. So I clearly remember when I moved from this neighborhood school to the army school in my 6th grade, my mother told me that if you don't speak in English in the school, you will be expelled. And the only thing that I had very consciously spent my time and effort was on maintaining some self-image, all this denial and the facade was to protect that self-image. So how can I allow people to know that I'm not comfortable with English? And with that desperation, I picked up the language almost overnight. And I think with that little success, this denial started breaking out slowly but surely. So from shaping myself into this seemingly introvert, underconfident, and barely even an ordinary girl, to getting transformed into comfortably extrovert, fairly confident, and having achieved a few extraordinary accomplishments already, wasn't an easy ride at all. Not for a girl from a middle-class family in a country like India. But did that happen because of a godmother, a godfather? Did that happen because I took charge and I decided overnight to be this person I always wanted to be? It didn't. It did happen with self-acceptance, but self-acceptance in itself doesn't happen overnight. Self-acceptance is about accepting yourself a little bit every single day and realizing the denials that surround you as well every single day. It doesn't happen when you want to break out of those denials because it is suffocating. It happens when you choose not to breathe that air of denial anymore. It doesn't happen when you're caught and you fall on your face. It happens when you don't want to fall for that reason. Let it be any other. So for me, that denial showed up for the first time when I didn't know enough about the music I was pretending to know about, when I couldn't frame sentences and I put my hand up to be a part of an English skit in school and was very rudely, blatantly rejected of it. Right? From there to being a keynote speaker today is an accomplishment that's enough for me to call this life a life lived well. But there is a story to share and something that I want women to know when they hear this story from me. And the story revolves and centers only and only around being able to accept where you come from, what you are and what you're not. And in the same breath, accept all that you want to be because you can. And you can not because someone will help you through it. You can because you know that no matter where you want to go, it takes one tiny step at a time to get there. For me, it was about getting to a place where I could accept my skin color. I was the darkest in the family, and I might not look that dark to you, but my sisters are quite fair, and my mother related beauty to fairness. It was almost synonymous for her. And I remember spending a large part of my life putting Fair and Lovely to see if it can create some external transformation for me, until I threw that tube in the dustbin and I said, this is me. And I'm so okay with that. And I didn't realize when my skin color changed on its own and when I got shades fairer, almost on its own with absolutely no effort or conscious means behind it. From someone who was camouflaging herself in the background, not showing up in family functions, to winning a pageant of Gladrax Mrs. India was not a ride that happened overnight. It wasn't a ride where my family always encouraged me for all that I had. It was with breaking those denials alone, slowly in my heart, in my mind, in my consciousness, and slowly accepting everything that I saw in the mirror and everything that I felt within me. So I want to encourage you to find that person that you are and see the beauty that you bring with all of that you already are. Because until you do that, it is impossible for us to see any magic externally. So entrepreneurship was another such plunge, another leap of faith that I took on myself. You know, being a banker means you have a secure job. It means you have a salary that makes you comfortable, in fact, sometimes a little too comfortable. It also means that in terms of status, you will always enjoy some respect, even if you don't enjoy your job. So letting that go didn't look like a wise thought at all. I mean, my parents weren't excited about it for one. I wasn't sure if this was the right thing for me to do as well, given that I always reached out for my father's validation on my decisions more than anyone else's. And he wasn't quite with me for this one. But I took that leap of faith, realizing that I'm getting too confined in what the men around in the corporate world expect me to do or not do. I was feeling exhausted telling them that being a mother is a blessing and I totally want to enjoy that blessing and not justify myself to say that this is not an excuse for me to go back home at 6:30, which is an official time for us to wind up. I want to go back home at 6:30 after being clear in my conscience that I've delivered what I needed to today, and now I need to be a mother that I so love to be. And I don't want to be sorry about that. And I'm not guilty about that. And I'm not going to use that as an excuse to cut my work short. I do want you to see that had it not been a mother behind you who rushed back home to give you what you needed, you wouldn't have been here either. But it wasn't easy being the only woman in the team. So whether it's my fortune or bad luck, I was pretty much the only woman in any team that I was a part of in my corporate stint of over a decade. And I felt like you had to create a little space for yourself every single day. You had to sound apologetic about playing the role that you so love to play because the men around are not able to value it. You don't want to show up on a holiday, and that's not because the work demands, but because everyone else shows up. You want to spend that time with your little twins who were only a few months old when I was trying to get myself out of this guilt of not working enough or not living up to my boss's expectations. I remember putting my twins who were 4 months old then into a daycare because I had no better arrangement to take care of them and I needed to go back to the job. I remember rushing from there to daycare in my chappals because I couldn't have been able to run the speed at which I had to run on my heels. And I would put my heels back in the bag and wear chappals so I could run and catch the train to reach the daycare so I'm able to pick my twins before they shut it down. And that was a struggle that only a mother can appreciate. And I want us as mothers to realize that if we have the power to do that, then we don't need a validation from anyone to tell us what all we can do. It is the passion with which we use ourselves, our breath, our emotions into every relationship, which is needed for us to achieve anything else in the so-called corporate or business world. So being an entrepreneur had thrown its own challenges at me. Women entrepreneurs aren't too many, especially in spaces related to leadership, which is so closely linked with the corporate world again. But I chose to be in this space because I connect with this space. I connect with this space because I know there is so much to be done here. I know that this is one space where there is no sense about worrying, about competition, because this is the space where I want to encourage more and more people to come and contribute. I want more coaches standing next to me because there are so many people who need to be coached. And I alone cannot do all of that. I need to have more people, more coaches next to me. I need to have more people who understand leadership and can translate what leadership truly means to people who are leaders or trying to be one in their leadership roles. Because until that changes, nothing in the office environment, the corporate environment will change. And if that doesn't, then us as women will always have to choose between being a mother and being a professional. And I think being asked to choose between the two is not a fair ask at all. We have enough of capabilities to perform well as a mother and as a professional, and there is no need for us to choose one over the other. When I'm asked in different forums about what it takes to be a woman entrepreneur, my knee-jerk reaction to that question is there is only entrepreneurship that I want to talk about, because there's nothing different about it when it comes to women entrepreneurs. So why should I create a separate speech on what women entrepreneurs should do, and why should that be any different from what entrepreneurs should learn and realize? Because entrepreneurship is all about having that level of self-motivation which drives you even when you have nothing supporting you, even when you have absolutely no one validating or confirming your beliefs and your fears. You stand tall to say, you know what, I'm feeling low today, but I know tomorrow I'll be on a high, and I'm going to wake up to that tomorrow. And you will see that happen. And I'm not waiting for you to make that happen for me. If that is a trait required for an entrepreneur, then how is it not needed for men to be successful as entrepreneurs? It is just as much as it's needed for women. So here is a message that I want to leave you with when you're trying to lead with change. If I have been able to lead my life with this change that I have been able to bring about in the same lifetime, I strongly believe anyone else can. What it takes is for you to accept yourself. And when you accept yourself, you know that you need to drop the burden of guilt that you carry. The guilt that I felt when I used to sit outside that daycare and cry my heart out feeling like I'm a terrible mother. The guilt that I felt when I picked my bag to rush back home, and the guilt was to be a less of a professional and less productive than the men around who were contributing to business. The guilt that I felt of becoming a woman entrepreneur and choosing to be an entrepreneur when my own father was not in agreement to that decision. Someone who's the most important person for me in my life was not with me when I made that decision, and hence there was such a feeling of guilt. And it is only when you drop all this guilt and when you accept everything that you choose to do with a leap of faith that comes from within you is when you bring in the ability to lead with change. So I want to encourage each and every one of you, every woman out there, to just put your one step forward from wherever you are. And the moment you do that, please know that when you look back, you would have already created that difference through your leadership. Because of that one step you took forward, there are many others who are now ready to do so. So thank you so much for your patient listening. And I do hope that with this small speech and a little life story here, I'm able to impact a few other lives on the other side of this camera and see that ripple effect in the environment we live in. Thank you.
Yukti ji, thank you. Thank you so much, Yukti ji. I think from your life's inspiration, I mean, I get to learn a lot of things, especially when I listen to struggle with the language as a child, or when it comes to running for your children and the struggles that a mother has to face. You know, somebody who met you today or yesterday would not really know what you have gone through. And it was only you who realize and you are satisfied about your own achievements in life. And that brings a smile on your face. And that's what matters. That's what I really
Thank
feel.
you.
Thank you once again for being part of this forum. Please try and stay till the end for some questions that our audience might have. Thank you so much. I think Tinku ji has got disconnected due to a technical issue, so I'll be continuing. Tinku ji, are you around?
A lot of network
got disconnected
here, and it was really very, very amazing. Yes, I'm very much here. So it was very nice seeing TJ because half of it I have relived what I have gone through. So it was very, really very encouraging. And the special note is that, yes, why woman entrepreneur? I think it's high time we should actually think about it. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. We don't have to be qualified as a woman entrepreneur. So thank you so much, Yukti ji, for this wonderful presentation. Really very inspiring. With this, we move on to.
Can I cut you in?
Miss Bhavna.
Can I cut in?
Yes.
Can I cut in for a minute, please? Okay, we are joined here right now with one of our partners, the Global India Business Forum, and we have Deepali Gadkari ji, who's the Vice President of Global India Business Forum. Deepali ji, are you around?
Yes, I'm here. Manpreet ji.
If you can just introduce 2 lines about Global India Business Forum and yourself.
Okay, Global India Business Forum is a networking platform, and we are having all our associate members all over the world. We are connected to more than 117 countries, and I'm really happy to be connected with ICIB and Manpreet ji with you. And I'm the Global Coordinator for Global India Business Forum. And thank you for this opportunity to be here with you on this forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepali ji. Thank you so much. Actually, Joshi ji is also around, who's the president. Thank you so much. Joshi ji, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Where is Dominus?
Okay, moving on. There's one thing that I would like to tell this audience. Tinku ji called me, and we are having parenting. I would say ICIB is parenting an forum or a federation of women chambers across the globe. We've already tied in about 6 countries and more than 20 women chamber of commerces. So she calls me and she says, we have an idea and we would like to implement it. I said, yeah, please go ahead. She's like, no, you have to listen to it first. I said, no, you can go ahead. She's like, no, there is, in every organization, there's always a women's wing. So we are now a federation of women's organizations. We want to have a men's wing. I was like, okay, that's really very interesting. And I think this is going to be the first of a kind in the entire world. And this is something that needs to be done more, if you really ask me. I would be ruffling a few feathers if I say some men need to be taught their place. Anyways, moving on, back to you, Tinku ji and Bhavna ji. I think Tinku ji's got some network issues. Bhavna ji, we are pleased to have you here today. We welcome you to our today's forum. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I would love to listen to, and in fact, all our audience, to your life challenging situations and how you overcame it. And I'm sure you're on the brighter side of things.
Thank you so much, Manpreet ji. It is definitely a great honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today. And I totally agree and support Tinku ji's brilliant idea to have a men's wing in the women's chamber. That is true progression. So coming back to my subject today about women's role in international arena. Okay, I'm not going to throw some old statistics and what we've been talking for ages, what World Economic Forum has been saying, etc., etc. That is reality, not to take away from that. But let me tell you, the Abla Nari, me, is fed up of talking about Abla Nari. So let's address the problem the way it is. As we all know, COVID-19 has ravaged lives, especially in the corporate sector. COVID-19 crisis could set women back half a decade. So are everyone coming together, talking on Women's International Day and every platform year after year, with this huge crisis, we are going to be half a decade back once again. That's right. Manpreet, as we are talking today, over here, about 2 million women are contemplating leaving the workforce in the United States. And supposedly we call it an advanced country, right? That's true. The events this year have turned workplaces upside down. And it's been highly challenging for everyone, be it India, be it Africa, be it China, be it any part of the world. The daily reports are being shared on various networks. So under these highly challenging circumstances of the pandemic, many employees are struggling to do their jobs. Many have been laid off in India too. And once upon a time, like we used to talk about work-life balance, we used to keep them in both separate silos. But it doesn't work like that. Now, with such a big crisis and everyone working from home, those lines, that differentiations has been blurred. So now it is work-life not balancing, but blending. Now, what's happening with these women and why do they want to quit their job? People are not getting job and they are not able to hold on. They are facing a serious burnout issue. So with women in particular have been negatively impacted with these crises. They have been laid off or furloughed already, and the ones that are not able to hold it at their workplace. Now imagine what's going to happen. That will be stalling their careers, jeopardizing their financial security, and this is only going to intensify challenges in the coming years. Now let's go back a little bit in history to understand, not too much of a history, but to understand why women will be suffering more. I'll take a classic case study of Harvard, which Sheryl Sandberg often quotes. There was this case study done. There was this very young, bright female called Heidi. In the Silicon Valley, she was doing some fantastic work through her networking, getting contacts, and she was a successful case study. Now, Howard took her case study about Heidi, her very rapid progress and a successful career, and this case study was given to two set of audiences with only one minor difference. The name was given to one set of people as Heidi, and other set of people, it was turned to Howard. Now both the set came back with their results, and the results were, people said, well, yeah, Heidi is successful, but she is too bossy. She is too pushy. She is greedy. She's overambitious. And the same attributes were listed for Howard. Now, interestingly, men and women both voted for Howard. Oh, he is a go-getter. He knows what he's talking about. He has that thing, he's got that thing in him to get it done. So imagine a classic case study of a successful woman. So unfortunately, women themselves also perceive Heidi as a pushy woman, and that is common. See, now this is all about perception. We already have a classic lady who's achieved it, yet people think, no, if a man has the same attributes, he's a winner. He deserves it. He's working hard. When a girl, I'm talking about, this is United States, not even India. When a girl calls her team out for beer, oh, she's a slut, she's too loose. Straight off, people go on a character. And trust me, I'm not even coming to India for this matter. I'm talking about the Western world. So these are the biases that we have. Let's talk about another case study in the University of Waterloo. A set of students were asked, again, men, women both, they were asked to list 5 things about themselves. All the guys wrote that whatever they're good at, I'm good at basketball and I've achieved this and this is my score and I plan to be an entrepreneur, I plan to start up my own IT company, etc., etc. And invariably, every female wrote, I'm a female, and then the other attributes. And none of the men thought of writing that they are men. Why? Because these girls have to be going through, take decisions, make choices based on their gender each day. Every single thing is around that. So unfortunately, I've taken a case study of US and Canada, the advanced countries, and yet we have the same dilemma there too. Things are not any different in India, but let me quote a recent study by Lean Organization and McKinsey. This is about Women in Workplace report. And what they are saying is the biggest obstacle keeping women from advancing in their careers is what they call the broken rung. We often talk about breaking the glass ceiling, but the glass ceiling comes much later. That is much after you are in the pipeline. But here we are seeing there's a broken rung, the entry level position itself, there are roadblocks. That initial missed promotion winds up holding women back for the rest of their careers. So this is a blind spot for the business world, for the corporate world, which typically concentrates more on the pipeline progression. A lot of organizations are focused on promoting women at the top at the pipeline. Like I am sitting on various committees and boards. I know it is like a beautiful token. Yes, we have women participation. Yes, we have women in our industry too. But I know what it means. A lot of organizations are focused on promoting women at the top. For years, as we're talking about glass ceiling. And you know, after glass ceiling, there's another concept, throwing off the cliff also. But that I will reserve it for some other day. I don't want to get into too much of those details right now. So there is this invisible barrier women face later in their careers that prevents them from reaching the most senior ranks in the organizations. Women are disadvantaged from the get-go, and then they never catch up because you're already so far behind in that race. So this impact of this initial broken rung is only magnified further up the corporate ladder, all the way top, where 79% of C-suite executives are men. And then we sit and wonder that why we don't have equality in leadership? Why very few women in leadership roles? But it's really an issue that can be traced all the way down from that very first promotion. And you know what? According to the United Nations, women's equality can add a $12 trillion to global growth. So this is something even corporate India should also think very seriously as we are talking about inching towards a target of 5 trillion economy. So gender bias is not only a social or a moral challenge, this is an economic cause also. So while men get hired, promoted based on their potential, women advanced based on what they already accomplished. Now, why only talk about corporate world and the Western world? Let's come back to grassroots. Let's come back to our very own country and into our own kitchens. Let's talk about Indian housewives. You know, there was a study, a report done, even after assigning a very low estimate for the market value of basic household chores, there was a report titled Women's Economic Contribution Through Their Unpaid Household Work, the Case of India. Researchers valued their contribution to about $612.8 billion, about 61% of the GDP. Astonishing, right? Indian housewives, they themselves don't know their worth. The simple fact of life is that most of these housewives do a lot of work, whether it's mopping, cooking, washing clothes, utensils, teaching their children, managing their accounts. A variety of services are being offered. And Manpreet ji, you already put a disclaimer in the beginning of the session that staying at home is a lot of work. So yes, I'll excuse you. So now if you put up economic value to household work, this will improve a woman's self-worth, you know, the self-worth. Mostly a housewife is an inferior status. So many times I've seen in a party or in a social do, when women are asked to introduce themselves, they themselves introduce themselves so apologetically. They say, I'm just a housewife. A housewife cannot be just a housewife ever. But unfortunately, because she fails to bring in the real money, she doesn't know her worth and the family doesn't give her her worth. And if the government will be able to arrive at a correct picture of GDP, as all the goods and services produced in the nation will be comprehensively covered, then there'll be a very critical understanding of their role and the contributions that they're making. They're basically nation building. Why just call them a housewife when they're feeding their children, giving them right nutrition, giving them right education? So this cannot be measured. Measuring the base thus becomes very, very critical to put some word to it. But honestly, it's immeasurable work that they're contributing. And we all have these subconscious biases. My earlier study about Harvard School, the recipient, the people who were participating in the study were women too. And they themselves preferred Harvard over Heidi. They felt Harvard was cool and Heidi was manipulating. So women make great CEOs. They make great leaders. We have so many champions on this platform today, Yukti, Tinku ji, all of them. Yet, only 5% of Fortune 500 companies have women CEOs. Women hold only 7% of world's government leadership roles. But several women leaders are drawing great praise for their skillful navigation of corona pandemic. They've been lauded for their swift action, trust in science, and ability to make difficult decisions with empathy and compassion. Why I'm saying trust in science? Because most of the time women are like, oh, they're very emotional. Women take decisions emotionally. No, they take with empathy, not emotionally. These women, these government leaders have taken very scientific approach. They have made decision keeping their population, the empathy, compassion with science in mind. So they know what they are doing. Don't discard them as women just think from heart, or women are very emotional. So as a result, these women have succeeded in minimizing the impact of the disease on their countries. And no making any reference to anyone, but today I got to know that Mr. Trump and Mrs. Trump have also been infected with coronavirus. So not just in the urban government leadership roles, in many parts of rural Zimbabwe, though the idea of women leading men is strictly taboo. I'm talking about the Aboriginal women. But some women tribal chiefs are breaking free of the traditional rules. In fact, they're encouraging others to take decision, making roles and becoming economically independent. And this change started not today and not yesterday. It is from 1997 they've been working. The number of tribal women leaders may be low. Of course, it's not very significant, but these women are inspiring others to lead. They're encouraging tribal women to come together in smaller groups and find means to become economically independent. And these are not highly educated women. These tribal women have not gone to any management schools. They've not got any mentors to coach them. But the difference that they are making. So I'm talking about right from India, US, Canada. We're talking about all across Africa, the tribal women. Overall, the international picture about women that you were asking me, Manpreet ji. So this just shows how women have been breaking the stereotypes whenever they've got opportunity. They've been shining in supporting roles and thriving as leaders. But at the same time, there are countries in the world where women cannot open a bank account or even obtain credit. And there are about 20 countries where women don't have the same inheritance rights as men. And thanks to COVID, we've all fast-tracked and plunged into the ABCD economy. By ABCD, I mean artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, data analytics. The gap is even more pronounced in these areas. A mere 12 to 15% participation is seen. So gender stereotypes holds us all back. We know of boys who cannot express their emotions, become aggressive, and underachieve at school, and then go on to be a part of toxic culture of masculinity, which normalizes violence. And then we have girls who have low self-esteem and issues with their body, their image, their looks, body shaming. So we have a heavily segregated labor market where just 8% of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math apprentices are women. So gender stereotyping is at the root of all this. And gender equality is a right and also responsibility. It's not just about asking my right. We're not talking about empowering women. Women are strong and they know they are strong. It's about how the world sees the strength, how the strength is perceived globally. That's a question. And fulfilling this gender parity gap is the best chance we have in meeting some of the most pressing challenges of our times. For economic crisis, for lack of healthcare, for climate change. When we talk about climate change and when we talk about international women, the lady who's standing over there and talking about glacier melting and the issues related to that, and the tribal or the women, rural women in Ganga Basin, they both are having challenges, but the degree is different. So in my opinion, if we try to correct a perception, and it cannot be changed overnight. So we have to first of all grasp the challenge to change it. So it is now widely accepted that gender parity in education, employment is critical. education for all of us. I'm talking about men and women. If we get fair education, employment, it's very, very critical for both these sectors to fast track for economic growth, societal growth, cohesion. We need to skill and reskill. There'll be so many women out of workforce the moment we are moving into artificial intelligence so rapidly. So gender bias because of stereotyping is still holding too many women back, and that holds our world back too. Last year, or maybe the year before, there was this major campaign about Me Too happening, and women spoke up, women made their presence felt. But what happened after that? You know, there's a study which says after that also, 27% of men, they avoid one-on-one meetings with female colleagues. 21% of men said they would be reluctant to have women for a job that would require close interaction. And about 19% of men would be reluctant to hire attractive women. Now, what is the definition of attractive? We'll keep it for some other day. But yes, there are issues, and that can only be tackled if we come collectively. I agree with Tinkuji's suggestion to have a men's chapter, because see, after all, we are both sides of the same coin. It doesn't, you know, I find the whole argument pointless. We've been talking from years and years about women and gender, and clearly, yes, there is some progress, but it's not working. So I think the best approach would be to look at issues as issues. Poverty, illiteracy, and only then we'll be able to come to a proper comprehensive growth development for all. That's all that I have to say, Manpreet. Thank you so much for your time and patient hearing, everyone.
Bhavna ji, thank you so much. You know, I really feel that this kind of a duration for the program is really short, and we really need a full day program in a full audience filled room. And I'm sure not a soul is going to move out from there. Thank you so much. Tinku ji? Moving on, next we are joined today by Mrs. Shilpi Mehra. I would like to introduce her as mother, daughter, wife. Okay.
I'm actually having a lot of internet problem today, but
Oops.
So there's a lag in her voice, I think. Please continue, Tinku ji. Okay, there's a network issue, so I shall do the needful, so-called needful. Shilpi ji, welcome to today's forum. Shilpi ji is the officer on special duty for Rotary District 3141. And also, like I said before, mother, daughter, and wife.
Thank you.
Shilpi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, dear Manpreet and ICIB, it was lovely hearing the earlier speakers, and it gave me beautiful insight to their stories and their life. And I think all of us have different lives which we are leading, and I'd like to take you through mine today through my short message to all of you. What is Aatmanirbhar? Upon checking the meaning, Swayam par nirbhar, आधारित, अपने पैरों पर खड़ा रहना, किसी दूसरे पर निर्भर ना रहना, self-reliant, self-sufficient, independent, self-supporting, self-contained, self-dependent. I really thank you for considering and honoring me with this title of being Aatmanirbhar woman. Sharing a little background so that I can bring forth the topic given to me, which is my experiences of a lifetime. I did my master's in travel, and one of the very few travel consultants from Geneva. I actually started Emirates Airlines, believe it or not, being the first ever employee of the huge aviation giant in Dubai. I was actually Aatmanirbhar when I was just the age of 20 because I was overexcited and I wanted to do everything all at once. My IATA, my graduation, I did it all together. However, when it came to me being deputed to be sent to India to start their India operations, not just the India operations, their Southeast Asia operations, I was asked to sacrifice this for the same for marriage. If you recall, in 1970, 1980, the marriage was the basis of being Aatmanirbhar, not your career. Today, the same father who married me when I was 22 tells my daughter, who's 29, to go overseas for studies further and to become Aatmanirbhar. And marriage is nowhere in the picture for her. Times have changed and thoughts have changed. Yes, I married, became a wife, a mother, and during those days, it was very much understood that houses run on the support from the husband. However, things changed again. Life changed and we moved to Mumbai. I started my business, tasted success, attained maturity, and became Aatmanirbhar once again. A few years after moving to Mumbai, I was introduced to Rotary. And then I became the Rotary president of my club. That's when I learned another power, the power of giving, and giving selflessly. What if someone told you today that you have 1 year to do whatever you want, whatever you set your heart to do? The only catch is that the time starts from the 1st of July and ends on the 30th of June, and you're not getting any extensions after that. 1 year of your life to be able to give back to society. Won't you want to give it your all? I was no different. I decided to do something for the underprivileged, the poor, and the Adivasis. My first project was a differently abled garden. We discovered a person who made normal equipment but requested him to do it specially for the differently abled, where every equipment is disabled friendly, where the wheelchair can go onto the slide, to the seesaw, to the merry-go-round. How many of us have experienced the silent scream of happiness of a 26-year-old mentally and physically challenged child who sat on the swing for the first time in 26 years? I did. Have you ever gone to a differently able school and seen the children who are disabled? They sit on wooden benches for hours. They wear helmets on their head for the whole day because their heads, they don't have control over their movements and their heads can hit the ground and hurt themselves. So I went there with my husband and we decided to find, I'll run you through a short story here. We decided to find a supplier for chairs for these children. The chairs were costing 36,000. There were 100 children in a school. We decided to do it for one school. We went back to the supplier. He refused to make those chairs for us. We went to another supplier. He told us the cost is 50,000. We couldn't do those chairs for the whole school. We decided to do for some children. At least they would have the comfort. But he said he would make them after 1 year. 1 year, and that's the only 1 year I had of my life to do all this. I didn't have that 1 year to give him. So I went to the Yellow Pages and we went and found a regular chair manufacturer. She made that same chair, which was going to cost me 50,000 rupees, for 2,500 rupees. I covered all 400 children in 4 schools. We were just 25 chairs short. That girl was Bhavna. I still don't forget her name. She comes around and says, Shilpi, I'd like to give these 25 chairs as a donation from my side. Can I? And I was elated because what more could I ask? And we gave a chair to each and every child in that school. The children, when they came and they saw that, and they saw those chairs and they saw that comfort, their expressions, I don't have words to express that to you, what I went through that evening. But the story doesn't end there. A year later, I called her Bhavna, and she was as old as me, and I'm a grandmom. And I could hear a baby crying in the background, and I wondered if it was her grandchild or it was a child of some neighbor. And the story I heard from her was, Shilpi, I'd been trying for 18 years to be a mom, and I wasn't able to do so. And the day I donated my chairs, the next month I conceived. And this is my miracle. So I can say this to you. How many have witnessed a miracle? I have. How many of us can say that we have traveled by car and then trekked for about 5 to 10 kilometers on feet to the insides of villages just around 100 kilometers from Mumbai and given solar power to the villagers who have never seen electricity in their lives? Yes, never seen electricity. These villages still do exist, and I have seen that. How many of us can say that when I did an old clothes drive, old clothes and old utensils for these same villages, and we took a tempo full of these clothes, I was informed by the village panchayat not to give it in that format. They made packages with the correct writing. Why? Because these people would have killed each other for the sake of this. They are subject to that kind of poverty. Yes, I did. How many of us can imagine children who've never seen sweets or toys and who will run away because they don't know how to play with a toy or what is a sweet? Yes, when we gave them, those children didn't know what sweets and toys were all about. We take our tap water in our house for granted. I sure did, till I traveled to Jawahar and I saw that there was no water. And women were traveling for kilometers with heavy utensils on their head to get that water. Can you imagine this story of this lady who had a small baby? I saw her bathing her baby in a small little pot of water, just that big. And she didn't throw the water away because she was going to use that same to wash her dishes or to cook her food. So what did I do? I made 12 check dams in the Jawahar area, which is today Rotary's watershed project. Well, I can't express the feeling to you, friends. When I stood on that check dam, I really felt nothing less than Neil Armstrong, how he must have felt when he was on the moon. Well, the best part of the story is still yet to come. With these 12 check dams, we gave water to 10 or 12 villages and over 1,000 families. I visited the site after around 6 months, and that memory of that scene will stay with me forever. It was women were washing clothes, cows were grazing, the dam was full of water. And with that water, these villagers were able to grow 2.5 crops instead of 1. I brought a bottle of that water home. It stays till today in my temple, along with my Ganga Jal. If this water isn't Ganga Jal, then I really don't know what it is. Do you know that in spite of government funds available for low-cost shelters, the poor Adivasis are still unable to contribute just 70,000 as their share and therefore continue to live in thatched grass houses on their own land? Can we imagine that 70,000, that is all that is needed to make a house of their own? We are in the process in this year to make 500 such houses and having raised money for 200 already. I don't know how many of us know that Government of India gives free education to the children, but their own requirement is that the children need to buy a uniform to attend. The Adivasis are so poor that even though they have the admission free, and it makes a lot of sense for them to send their children to school because they get that free meal of khichdi, which the children get as an afternoon meal, but they don't send their children to school. Have you ever asked them why? Yes, because they don't have the money for the uniform. Can you imagine that? Have you ever witnessed or been a chief guest of a parade being organized by you by the Adivasis with dances and rangoli, and all that you ever did was give the children a donation of school uniforms? Yes, I did. We work together for an inclusive India. But can we compare the education of the schools in the villages to that of the cities? The solution is the donation of e-learning kits to Adivasi schools, which, yes, we've started, and yes, which I did. So many young girls die together because of lack of hygiene, as they don't have access to sanitary pads. Using the age-old method of dirty clothes and drying, and they normally die with infections. The way forward is distribution of sanitary pads and incinerators. And yes, we've taken the step towards that, and yes, I have. Service in Rotary is not restricted to villages, but also focused in cities. This year in the pandemic, we have donated almost over 7.5 to 8 lakh meals, hot meals to migrants, to people, to grains, and groceries. I know of a person who cooked the whole night with his mother just because he wanted to serve 700 people with his own hands. We have the donation of life by enabling parents of a child who is suffering from heart ailments. We do free heart surgeries for children who are underprivileged. And yes, we have done over 2,000 heart surgeries of those kinds. Free cataract surgeries, blood and plasma donation drives, medical camps, Jaipur Foods, donation of equipment to hospital. Whether it is Corona or not Corona, the work hasn't stopped. Life is a beautiful journey. It's taught me tolerance, it's taught me patience, and it's taught me compassion. I have learned today that life is all about compromise, and along with being Aatmanirbhar and getting Atmagyan and living my life with Atma Samman will only make me a complete woman. To summarize, all of us have had experiences that we are sharing here. But if those experiences of your life are filled with some act of service, I think they become experiences of a lifetime. Thank you for having me here today. I have really enjoyed being a part of this session. Thank you.
Shilpi ji, thank you so much. If that is not inspiration, I really don't know what is.
Thank you.
And looking at what you have been doing and how you began your life and how there were disruptions, and like you told me, you know, in our conversation that I'm sure that I don't know what your life is about, and I'm sure this has been a learning experience for me and for all the women who are around. And what has changed now? And this is something that we really need to appreciate. The times are changing. It is time for us others also to move with the times. And change is the only constant, if you really ask me. Thank you so much, Shilpi ji. It's a pleasure to have you here. Meanwhile, I would like to have a question and answer open for just 2 or 3 questions. If there's any questions for the speakers till now, I mean, any questions for Yukti ji or Bhavna ji from our audience would like to ask something? You can maybe post on the chat box or unmute yourself, ask something. Okay, I guess no questions so far. I think all of this was so overwhelming. People are still thinking that, you know, where do we start from and where do we really begin our thought process? It's not about ending, it's about a new beginning. And it's time that things are getting noticed. It's time that we are moving ahead of the times from what we have seen in our lives. In our own lives, I'm sure, you know, I'm 40 odd something. And from my childhood till now, looking at my mother, my sister, and my wife, I have seen the times change. And trust me when I say it, it's been a phenomenal growth. But then again, we are just beginning. Thank you so much. Moving on. Welcome, Dr. Sukanya ji. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I know you as a mentor of mentors, if I may so call it. Welcome to today's forum.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to be present amongst all the elated speakers. I would like to share some of my thought process on women, how they have attained or how they have become self-reliant or moving towards Aatmanirbhar Abhiyan, a prophetic call, a clarion call given by our Prime Minister. So history stands testimony to India being the fulcrum of the advancement of knowledge through ideation process. Government of India has always recognized the emotional connect towards the root and always has implemented various initiatives to enhance these bonds. This emotional connect can be very instrumental in fostering a nation's growth or development objectives, especially in the field of science, education, and most importantly, entrepreneurship. Atmanirbharta is a driving mantra, friends, achieving sustainable, unfettered, nation's growth. And now you have in the recent past that you have seen NEP has been promulgated. NEP, New Education Policy, has been promulgated, and there we have a paradigm shift from what to think to how to think. As I always start in my blogs or other talks with a quote, I would like to start a quote in Sanskrit. Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayatyati patratvam, patratva dhanamapnoti, dhana dharma tataha sukham. Essence of education, vidya dadati vinayam. Education instills us or equips us with lot of etiquettes. Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayatyati patratvam. After having attained those etiquettes, we try to reach scholarliness. When we attain those scholarliness, we treat on the path of righteousness. Dhanamapnoti, dhana dharma tataha sukham. After having attained or after treating on the path of dharma or treating on the path of righteousness, we become, we are self-contained and we feel that we become very peaceful. But at last, how do we become peaceful? Personally, I feel, soul-satisfying moments during these Corona times, during this pandemic, darker, unprecedented times. I indulged myself in complete volunteering activities. You will attain or achieve soul-satisfying moments unless and until you give it to others, sharing, giving, and caring. On this note, I like to also quote Swami Vivekananda. There is no chance for the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. It is not possible for a bird to fly on one wing, says the great thought process, the great thinker, the great philosopher, the bold reformer of our times, Swami Vivekananda ji. Friends, today I stand in reverence to the industry, the women of this great nation, their endless sacrifices, the bravery, and to kindle the spirit of motherhood. Recognizing two driving forces, one, that of the motherhood beyond all boundaries and all bounds, and another of unending creative cooperation, I feel captures the spirit of women entrepreneurs and most importantly, Atmanirbharta. These two things hold key to improve our current situation and also coexist with modern day commerce. The women of this proud nation stand very tall even today in face of these unprecedented darker Corona times that has brought with it through global COVID crisis, turbulent economies, and closed boundaries, especially environmental impact on global warming. The most important thing is the termite rotting the status quo of nations with ever increasing ideological differences. It is in these tough times, friends, the spirit of entrepreneurship outshines the bleak, dark clouds and presents us to the novel opportunities, the silver lining. When an unprecedented lockdown spanning, the entire nation, the future seemed very, very uncertain. Nari Shakti took the bull by its horn and ensured the well-being of its native. 1.4 billion souls as best as it could be. Not all soldiers, friends, they wear uniform, and all these fighters most certainly are very commendable. The times going forward will demand from these entrepreneurs to help put nation back on its feet to create, according to me, indigenous products, employment, and set our motherland free for its renewed flight and also for the world to the entire global arena. This is what I perceive as motherhood beyond boundaries. I call these women entrepreneurs as they are someone, who use the craft, knowledge, and fulfill a motive in most efficient, calibrated, effective manner. They are, what to say, there has the liberty to be a pessimist, always an optimist. So these women, they have the potential, but they now and then they need guidance of the digital world to have a better adaptability towards the global economy situation. Our motherland is set to become a great threshold on these parameters. Knowledge transfer between the global think tanks, universities to these rural clusters can unlock that immense potential and which set us apart in the world. This unmatched spirit of women entrepreneurs, when coupled with technology and also knowledge-based cooperation, they can bridge the idea of equitable growth and, most importantly, a sustainable economy. Not taking much of your time, I would like to give some stats, to boost that or to stimulate the ecosystem that thrives the entrepreneurship in our economy, rather in our nation. We have to consider several parameters, such as entrepreneur clusters of rural and urban India, ease of education policy changes and measures that supports this fighting spirit of the nation. Some of the policies, some of the measures adopted in the recent past, especially the think tank of our Government of India, Niti Aayog's the Women Entrepreneurship Platform, Stand Up India Scheme, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, and they all provide an ecosystem for budding and existing women entrepreneurs across the economy. Some stats, friends, I would like to quote on this fora. There is 73,155 accounts belong to women, while 16712.72 crore has been sanctioned under the stand-up scheme for these women. Out of the sanctioned amount, around rupees 9106.13 crores has already been disbursed for setting up greenfield enterprise. According to the statement of the ministry, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana was launched in April 2015, out of which rupees 22.53 crore loans were sanctioned till January 31st, 2020. More than rupees 15.75 crore has been extended to women folk, the female force, who are the key contributors towards the GDP of our nation. 70% of the total borrowers. The scheme intends to give up to rupees 10 lakh loans to the non-corporate and the non-farmers. So, not taking much of your time, I'll also give some more stats. Ministry MSMEs, they are empowering women entrepreneurs through different schemes, helping women spark their talent and also building their own identity. 1.38 lakh projects have been set up by the women entrepreneurs under PMEGP, Prime Minister's Employment Generation Scheme. I come from a platform called BYST, Bharati Yuva Shakti Trust. For the last 18 years, I've been involved into this platform, and I mentor underprivileged Indian youths. In these underprivileged Indian youths, what I act as a mediator between me, the mentee, and also the mentee, the mentor, as well as the banks. We source out funds, financial assistance, the funding assistance. Most importantly, we mentor each and every stage how they can scale up their projects. For example, I'll give my own example. Way back 18 years back, when I plunged into this forum, I had my own person whom I was mentoring. Her name is Sharda. She was in the Sharda catering service. There was one more person who had started a bicycle unit. The Sharda catering where I was teaching in ICIB University. So those schools, that the universities, kids with children, when they used to come, she had put up a stall outside the gate of ICIB University. So when I used to, after finishing my class, I used to come and see, and I asked to ask her how you manage. So she says, with all these limited idli counter, she had put she started very humble, on a humble note, by putting an idli counter. So in Hyderabad, So in South India, there's a staple breakfast in the mornings. All the students, they while going inside, she used to charge a minimum of ₹10 per plate. 18 to 20 years back, I'm talking about 10 or 20. So what happened was during the summer vacation, there used to be, there was no business. So during those days, I had mentored her and I told her, I spoke to the canteen wala inside the university and requested him, why can't she put a stall inside your canteen? So agreed, and she had moved her base from outside on the road platform to inside the canteen. So thereby, each and every step I mentored. I took her to the BYST office, offered her financial assistance, funding assistance. Thereby, each and every step around, we had given her 1 lakh, 2 lakh. Every time we used to give her a loan. There also we had instructed her that there'll be recovery process also. So she had acknowledged the fact, and most importantly, I mentored her the packaging, the pricing, and also the most important aspect is the quality of the product. If you do not maintain the quality of the product, people will not come back to you. So that is a basic thing that you ought to learn, you need to imbibe in yourself. So she had acknowledged. It gives me, immense pleasure to share with you that she has become one of the, she's carved a space for herself, carved a niche for herself. She's most sought after person in entire Hyderabad. Swiggy, uses her service. So a long association from being a street vendor to, she has got a franchisee of her own. So this gives me immense satisfaction how women can be empowered, in skilling, in mentoring, in tutoring, in giving guidance now and then. I have also been associated with Mahalakshmi Bachat Agadis in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, in Powai region, where with those people, the self-help groups, ASHA workers, they use eco-friendly products to manufacture sanitation, sanitary pads. So for last 5 years, I'm also involved into that project, Mahalakshmi Bachat Agadi, and I distribute the sanitary pads which are being made by them to everyone. So this gives me immense pleasure to say that, when I see these people, I ask them, what makes you, what plunges you in this? We have enough time, we have free time. When our husbands go, when our kids go to schools or colleges, we have, we like to do something for ourselves, for our soul satisfaction. That moves me, and that asks me to go to their place. I visit their site. They have them sanitary machines. Those sanitary pads they manufacture. They have small machines, and they have a small in a garage. They have started. Now they have hired a room.
I think there's some technical difficulty. Sukanya ji. Sukanya ji. Sukanya ji, can you hear us? Looks like she got disconnected. Thank you so much. It was a great information that you shared with us, and how the grassroots are changing, and how the mentoring is happening, and how the government is also supporting the women initiatives and women directives. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And I would like to call the grassroots woman of Maharashtra. Meenal Mohadikar ji, welcome to you. It's been a pleasure to have you here today. And you're also the Vice President of MEDC. You have been the President of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce in the past. Welcome to today's forum.
I think she's speaking.
Sukanya ji, can you hear us?
Yes. Sukanya ji is speaking, I think so. Yeah, she can speak.
Conclude.
She can
Are you back? Oh, that's
yes.
so nice to have you back. Okay, great.
I'll conclude.
Yes, please.
Yes. So with these, I thank Manpreet. I thank ICIB. Sorry for the lag. As usual, we have our issues in this post-COVID era. We are trying to get into the new normal. And I hope with a few insights from my side, I was able to give some of my thought process with a limited time frame. And you all can reach me. I'm very much active on social media platform, in Twitter, in Facebook, and my website, www.sukanyatalks.in. Anything for any, I keep writing lots on policy measures taken and implemented by our Government of India. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Sukanya ji, thank you so much. I think this is the new normal that we have. You know, we keep connecting, disconnecting as the part of the new world. It was definitely an inspiring talk. Thank you so much. We'll share the contact details of all speakers with the participants. So in case anybody needs to contact, they'll be able to do so. Meenal ji, welcome to today's forum. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Manpreet, for giving me the opportunity, because really everybody was talking it was an inspiring function, I should say, because everybody has given a very good, everybody took an initiative. Then I should say Yukti is a very good corporate trainer, coach. She's a very good coach. So I would be happy to call her in my Ammi Udyogini Pratishthan. Then I would just talk about something that what we are doing, but because somebody said that women, why do you want women entrepreneurs? When we had started 24 years back, this women entrepreneurs, this concept was not there. And even if I became the president of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, up till now, within 90 years of span, because Manpreet's father was working with me, he's a good friend of mine, and within 90 years of span, I became only one president, and by election, not by selection. So that is again one. So you have to fight for it. How I think Bhavna said that you have to fight your position, then only you can get that position. And within that time, somebody said that, I think Shilpi Mehra said that she was a Rotarian as a president for only 1 year. The same thing happened with me when I became the president of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce. I was the president for only 1 year. And that time I did one program that was Global Maharashtra. Why I'm telling you, that time 2008, 2009, this Global Maharashtra concept was totally new. And 26/11, the bomb blast happened in Mumbai, everywhere. And after Taj bomb blast, our function was there in the month of January. That was 9 January 2009. And the person was supposed to come from Australia, Mr. Joshi was supposed to come. And that time he got a call from Australian, he got a call saying that don't go to India. He called me up saying that, ma'am, kya karu? Main boli, sir, aap aapke India ko wapas aa rahe hain. Why do you want to go say that I'm not going to come? And like that time we did a very good seminar with the help of everybody, because it was not my function. It was a teamwork. Why I'm saying teamwork, just now also, Manpreet, your father was there with us, but just now Shubhangi Tirodkar, the Vice President of Maharashtra Chamber, is here with us. She was also a part and parcel of our team that time, and now she is the Vice President of Maharashtra Chamber. So what is teamwork? T stands for target, E stands for efforts, A stands for aim, and M stands for money, management, everything together, 7 M's. That is, you know. So everybody worked very hard, and we did a very good seminar that time. That is 2009, 9th January, the day it was. Now I would like to share with you some of the examples, because 24 years back, we have started Ammi Udyogini Pratishthan, which we are working for women entrepreneurs, and we are not only in Mumbai. Happy to share with you, Dr. Sukanya, that we are there all over Maharashtra, plus we are there in Goa, plus we are there in Dubai also. And I would be happy to share with, we should come together, everybody. So coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a process, and working together is a success. So I think, Manpreet, thanks to you that you have brought everybody together. So thank you to you. And what I'm saying, because I will give you some of the examples. 24 years back, we have started from Mumbai, but now we are everywhere. We are there in Bangalore also. We are there in Dubai also. We are there in Goa also. And every Tuesday, ma'am, we are having a webinar. Why? Because just now we can't meet each other. So this Tuesday, just now, 29th of this month, a person came from London. He was representing from UK, and a person from Maharashtra. Now he is established in London. But I'm happy to share with you that within 18 years of span, now he is his wife started the business. His name is Prasad Kulkarni and Meenal Kulkarni, both of them. Meenal Tai started the business in London for they are the distributors for the Indian products, food products from India to US, UK. And now they are not only in UK, they are there in US also. And within 18 years of span, they have got 36 products with them. 36 companies are working with them. So this is a good example I'm giving you. Second example I would like to share with you, that Vanita Dande, Rotary Madam jo Shilpi Tai ne bola hai. So I will give some of the examples from rural areas also. Vanita Dande is a lady from Aurangabad, near Aurangabad she is staying. She doesn't know how to speak English, but she knows about her product quality. She is into the cosmetics, and she is into the manufacturing of cosmetic products. And she came with us to Dubai also. And happy to share with you, she is a very good marketing personality. She means in Dubai, we are doing B2B sessions. Every year we go with the lady entrepreneurs, and we are meeting the people, those who are buyers. So she came with us, and last day you can go anywhere and you can buy whatever you want. But she is a lady from marketing. Why I'm saying, she went to the mall and she didn't buy anything. She took her product with her, and जो लोग देते हैं उनको ही उसने उनका product बेचा है. So that's why I'm saying she is a very good marketing personality. And वहाँ उसने 80 dirham कमा लिए, and वो 80 dirham से उसने 80 dirham से उसने केसर, जो केसर बोलते हैं, वो खरीदा. And यहाँ आकर मैं बोली वो अभी बेच देना. Means she is a perfect lady coming from a very small village, and she knows how to speak about her product, quality, everything. Then second thing I would like to give you the example, that is Pradnya Jogekar. She was working with KVIC, Khadi and Village Industries में वो काम करती थी. But अभी she is retired from KVIC. अभी चिपलून जो है, it is near to Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, and उन्होंने ग्राम कौशल मार्गदर्शन केंद्र नाम का एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्टार्ट किया है, where she is preparing a doctor's kit. वो कोविड के लिए जो PPE kits हम यूज करते हैं, वो she is making the kits, but not PPE kits. She is making a cloth का material का, she is making a doctor's kit. जो mask बनती है, everything she is preparing. And so many ladies are working with her in Chiploon. That's so I would like to tell about some of the schemes, what you said, that Mudra Yojana is without any collateral security. Anybody can get it. Any new entrepreneur can get it. And first it was up to 10 lakhs. Now it is up to 20 lakhs. Then second thing, KVIC ki taraf se, whenever you are going to take the advantage from the KVIC, if that lady entrepreneur is taking a loan of 10 lakhs, then she will get the 7 lakhs rupees with the rate of interest, whatever it is. But 3 lakhs rupees will be the subsidy for the, means 30% of the subsidies she will get it. So 7 lakhs rupees पर उसका जो कर्जा है वो उतना ही rate of interest of the bank will be the same. But 3 lakhs rupees उसको free में ही मिलता है. That's why I'm saying. Even I would like to tell you about we are working for Sri Shakti, not Sri Mukti. And that's why idea is a currency. And grab the opportunity, whatever you are having. That's why when you said, somebody said about the this sanitary pads, I think you only said. So my lady from Ratnagiri again, Harshada Patwardhan, she is a manufacturer of machines. Manufacture करती है जो sanitary pads बनाने की machines वो manufacture करती है. And not only she is giving you a machine, she is giving you a raw material also. So that lady sits in Ratnagiri. And incinerator की machine कौन बनाती है? The lady, she is sitting in Karad. Her name is Sonal Bhosekar. I think madam said about solar energy also, Shilpi madam said. So she is into the solar energy also, Shilpa Bhosekar, as well as she is the manufacturer of incinerator. So all these, I'm saying you that Mudra Yojana की तरफ से आपको पैसा तो मिलता है, but Maharashtra is the only state where for the women entrepreneurs from 2017 it is a special ladies लोगों के लिए एक special उद्योजक धोरण बनाया गया है. When that time also Subhash Desai was the minister of minister the, and just now also he is the minister of industries. So this Mahila Udyog Dhoran की तरफ से भी आपको help मिलती है. And the second thing I would like to say about MSME की तरफ से, if you come together, 20 ladies can come together and form a cluster unit. Minimum 20 ladies if you can come together. पहले 90% of the money used to come from the government. Abhi for the women entrepreneurs, it is 100% of the money from the government. So that's the very positive thing I'm saying. Only the thing is you have to have the same product with you. 20 lady entrepreneurs should come together for the same product. And like that, in Nagpur, they have done a different clusters in Nagpur itself. And that's why I'm saying कि there are आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए भी जो प्रधानमंत्री ने बोले हैं उसके लिए भी मैं कुछ बोलना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि 3 लाख करोड़ रुपीस पैकेज दिया है फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, फ्रॉम प्रधानमंत्री की तरफ से मिल गया है. एंड 3 लाख करोड़ का हाउ टू गो अहेड, यू हैव टू गो टू द बैंक्स एंड गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटी. देन प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण योजना, वहाँ 24% of the money you will get it, and EPF you will get आपका जो EPF है उसमें से 75% amount you will get the money back provident fund में से. So that also I am sharing with you. Then self help group के लिए 20 lakhs rupees का loan मिल सकता है only for self help group. And if self help group are coming together, they can also form a cluster. And वहाँ cluster के लिए जो 90% 100% पैसा मिल जाता है वो आपको वापस देना नहीं है. उसके लिए आपको उद्यम रजिस्ट्रेशन की जरूरत है. Then micro small medium enterprise, that means MSME के लिए if you are a lady entrepreneur आपको registration करना है उद्यम सखी के लिए. And उद्यम सखी is a portal from MSME where you can get the business also. B2C business free में मिल जाएगा. But for that I am saying you have to be there on GM registration, government e-marketing. If you are there with government e-market, so क्या हो जाता है कि उसमें से 20% of the government business will come to you. This is again a scheme from the government, and that's why I'm saying you should grab the opportunity of that also. Here I will say that there is a e-market linkage. अभी exhibition कर नहीं सकते, इसीलिए e-market linkages भी MSME की तरफ से आपको दे दिया है. And यहाँ भी मुझे बोलने को बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि नागपुर में उन्होंने गारमेंट क्लस्टर में ही, that is common facility center में PPE kits बनाए हैं. अभी in this pandemic they have मैन्युफैक्चर्ड पीपीई किट्स इन नागपुर एंड वही वो अभी एक्सपोर्ट भी कर रहे हैं. देन आई एम हैप्पी टू शेयर विथ यू, क्योंकि आप जब इकट्ठा हो जाएंगे तो मैक्सिमम 20 करोड़ रुपीस फॉर द वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को क्लस्टर के लिए मिल सकते हैं, जिसमें से 18 करोड़ रुपीस गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से आपको मिलने वाला है. बट इतने बड़े की जरूरत नहीं, पहले छोटा छोटा क्लस्टर फॉर्म कर ले, बाद में आप बड़े के लिए जाओ. देन स्फूर्ति स्कीम की आपके लिए है, जो आर्टिजन्स है, जो स्किल डेवलपमेंट में काम करते हैं आर्टिजन्स, उनके लिए स्फूर्ति की स्कीम है. रूरल एरियाज में है, जहां बाम्बू की तरफ से आप प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हैं, अगरबत्ती बना सकते हैं, ऐसे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट्स आप बना सकते हैं, जहां मैक्सिमम 5 करोड़ रुपीज ग्रांट मिल जाता है. देखो, गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ग्रांट मिल सकती है, लेकिन आपका पेपर वर्क चाहिए. विदाउट पेपर वर्क यू कांट गो अहेड. एंड इसीलिए मैं बोलती हूँ, महाराष्ट्र इज द ओनली स्टेट वेयर महिला उद्योजकों के लिए उद्योग धोरण है. You should be the proprietor of the company, lady. And the second thing, that out of 10, minimum 5 lady कामगार आपके पास चाहिए. If there are workers with you, minimum 5 workers should be ladies. Then only you can get this facility. With that, the rate of interest of the electricity will be less per unit, 1 rupees less है. देखो, आपको 1000 यूनिट आपने यूज किए है, तो उसमें से 1000 रुपया आपको कम हो जाएगा. ये आपको मालूम नहीं है, इसलिए मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ. देन सेकेंड थिंग, द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द बैंक विल बी लो. अभी आपने स्टार्टअप योजना के बारे में बताया. आई एम हैप्पी टू शेयर विथ यू, 1 करोड़ रुपीज आपका पेपर वर्क है, तो एवरी ब्रांच, बैंक का एवरी ब्रांच इज एलिजिबल टू गिव वन, मीन्स उन्होंने 2 लोगों के लिए रखा है एवरी ब्रांच, उसमें से एक SC/ST के लिए एंड एक महिला उद्योगजनों के लिए. इफ यू आर अ वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर, यू कैन गेट 1 करोड़ रुपीज, एंड दैट पेपर वर्क की, विदाउट पेपर वर्क यू कांट गेट इट. एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई एम ऑलवेज सेइंग दैट यू शुड डू द पेपर वर्क. यहाँ इन महाराष्ट्र देयर इज अ चीफ मिनिस्टर रोजगार योजना ऑल्सो. within that also 1 crore rupees you can get it through DIC. बट ये सब करने के लिए आपको पेपर वर्क, आई एम सेइंग कि आपको एक्सपोर्ट करना है, बिकॉज हमारी अम्मी उद्योगिनी संस्था की तरफ से वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग इट टू दुबई ऑल्सो, एंड नाउ इन लंदन ऑल्सो वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट. सो उसी के लिए पेपर वर्क की जरूरत है. विदाउट दैट यू कांट गो. अभी गणपति बप्पा के दर्शन हो गए, तो गणपति बप्पा में हमारे लेडीज लोग इकट्ठा आए हैं. 25 लेडीज केम टुगेदर इन विले पार्ले, एंड वो लोगों ने घर, means how you are taking everything from the shop. Instead of that, if you can give the delivery at your the destiny, means मेरे घर में, आपके घर में, घर तक आकर आपको दे दिया, तो आपका भी that will be direct marketing for those ladies entrepreneurs. And इसीलिए ये भी काम हम लोगों ने शुरू कर दिया है. इसीलिए मैं बोलती हूँ कि हमारी संस्था पैसा लेती नहीं है, बट पैसा कैसा, मीन्स how to get money, उसके लिए we are giving guideline, and that's why I'm happy to share with you. We talk about government schemes, finance, marketing and networking, and that's why every Tuesday का हमारा जो 4 बजे लेक्चर होता है, we took it on the हमारा खुद का चैनल है, that is a YouTube channel. अम्मी उद्योगिनी का YouTube चैनल है, वहां जाकर आप देख सकते हैं. एंड इसीलिए मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ, आई एम really happy that you have given me a chance to speak, Manpreet, and I am happy to be with you forever. And मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ कि सब अच्छा ही करो, पैकिंग अच्छा करो, क्वालिटी शुड बी गुड, एवरीथिंग नॉर्म्स फाइन, मीन्स ये करो, फॉलो करो, एंड उसके हिसाब से कि कुछ भी प्रोडक्ट करो. तो शिव खेरा क्या बोलते हैं, शिव खेरा बोलते हैं कुछ भी प्रोडक्ट बने, हाउ टू प्रेजेंट, that presentation ही different होना चाहिए. Winners don't do different things, they do the things differently. उस हिसाब से हम लोग काम करेंगे तो हम लोग भी आगे जा सकते हैं. इसीलिए हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. रोटरी के साथ भी मैडम मैं काम करती हूँ, डिफरेंट रोटरी क्लब के साथ मेरा जुड़ा हुआ है, इसीलिए कि I'm happy to be with you also, and Manpreet, really thankful to you. Thanks a lot, and Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Jai Bharat. And हमारा एक exhibition है which is starting on 29th of this October to 7th of November before Diwali. So I would be happy if you can come, and not with you only. We want buyers also, because all maximum are lady entrepreneurs. And the name of the exhibition is Namaste Bharat. The lady is again an organizer from Singapore. Uska bhi naam hai Mrs. Kamat from Singapore, and I am working from India. Thank you. Manpreet bhi hamare saath hai. Thank you so much.
मीनल जी, थैंक यू सो मच. आपने इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन बताई. अब मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि विद 5 डायनामिक लेडीज गिविंग सो मच ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, मुझे ये रिकॉर्डिंग 2 बार सुननी पड़ेगी. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and this has been a very enlightening. हाँ जी, शिल्पी जी.
We would definitely like to meet Meenal along with you, and
yeah, we'll connect.
We will form a group. जो मैं ना हमारा एक ग्रुप बन जाएगा.
Definitely.
And we should work together. Then only we will be able to achieve our goals. Okay.
You know, I was really wondering what is this one man going to do in this an all women's meeting, but I'm happy to say it looks like one. So it looks like I've become a bridge, so I'll be more than happy to. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I would really like to thank all of our speakers today who have come, given their life experiences, their journeys. Dr. Sukanya, Shilpi ji, all people, Dipali Gadkari ji who's been there, Meenal ji. It's been great to have you here. Bhavna ji, who's leading some international organization today, and definitely Yukti Kapoor also. It's been a great journey for us at ICIB, and how we are trying to connect as many people as possible and the relevant topics for the day. And this has been one forum that has been personally enlightening for me. I now like to throw open the forum for 1 or 2 questions if anybody has got. And the panelists today, if you can give me a one line for today's event, just one line on women if you can. Forum is open.
Can I say?
Yes, please.
Nari tu Narayani.
That's great. Shilpi ji, anything from your side?
I think it's really, I'm so glad that Manpreet, I came here. I really enjoyed the caliber of speakers that you had, and everything has been so educative for us, because everything is like, there are so many angles to all of this. So thank you for getting me. It's fabulous. My one word was quite a few.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Manpreet, I would be happy to work with you forever. That is my your plus point, I should say.
You're like my friend, philosopher, guide, and I think I've got 5 more mothers today, if I may say so.
Because आपके पिताजी मेरे दोस्त हैं, तो आप काम करने में बहुत बढ़िया लगेगा.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great forum. I would like to personally thank all the speakers and our partners, Rotary District 3141. A big thank you to Global Indian Business Forum and BYST, and also All India Association of Manufacturing Industries. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to be the part of this.
Thank you
So much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.